Hello friends, bienvenidos. My name is Jen, aka Jen Kahlo on social media, your local witchy friend and intuitive guide through the occult. As always, my lovely husband and co-host is David, aka Premier Pulls on social media.
Hi everyone, on today's episode, Jen explains Serendipity.
Welcome to the show, grab a chair, make yourself at home. Jen's got stories to share, you'll never feel alone.
Thank you to our first 3 patrons for joining the Kythera Club.
I know,
so much
super
fun.
excited. Yeah, huge shout out. I know we do them at the beginning of the month, but I'm just way too excited. So we got, Mercy was our first.
Yep.
We were trying to find a way to do like a badge to have like the first, so we might try to figure that out, but thank you so much for supporting. Then Janet, she had a few technical difficulties, but she got there.
Yes.
And that lastly, Vanna, thank you so much for joining. So, yeah, for those of you who are already in the Discord, we're trying to make it as fun as possible, and we'll continue to grow it. And then for the other stuff, the episodes, we're going to try to do our first one, so that should be coming out soon. Once we kind of get the ball rolling, those are going to be coming out pretty consistently. But we're trying to shoot for Thursdays, so
Yes.
yeah, thank you for joining.
Yes, and Thursday does have a magical meaning. It's not just the day after Wednesday. So Thursday is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of abundance, and this is a secondary abundant episode. So I just thought it'd be fun to line that up. And it's also good timing.
Yeah. And then other exciting, man, we really are getting our shit together. Something that's really exciting, we set up voice, like not like call-ins kind of. So if you want to tell us your story instead of typing it out, you can click on our link tree, and the first tab on there that says like submit your story or something like that. You click on it, it's a Google form, and you just upload your audio. So we'll obviously listen to it to make sure it's appropriate.
Yeah.
But if you want to hear your voice on the podcast, that's live and open. So if you have questions, comments, or anything regarding episodes, just go ahead and join us for that and upload, and we can put it on the podcast as long as it's appropriate, obviously.
Yeah. I feel like we're a pretty liberal podcast. We swear, we talk about the occult. So yeah.
Not too much censorship going on.
Exactly. Yes. And we finally have a booking link for our in-person at the Kythera Collective Studios within Luna 209, and for virtual appointments also within our link tree. For virtual appointments, you'll have to go to other locations to book.
Yeah. So check it out. We're really excited. Again, I think we are moving in the right direction. I think all it took was just kind of getting organized, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the scariest part is taking the first step, but we've just kind of been chipping at it. So, check us out. Look at our links, and if you want to join, please do so. Right now is a good time to join.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Leo season, huh?
Yeah,
we're officially full-blown into Leo season. I thought that was a really fun episode. We got to kind of talk about ourselves, and I think the astrological sign episodes are super exciting because people get to point and say oh, that's mine, or oh, I hate so and so's, and then it keeps it spicy and interesting.
Yeah, I love talking about astrology. Of course, I love every topic we do, but when I get to explain the archetypes of each sign, it's very, very fun.
Yeah. So with that, we did have how many comments did we get?
We got 3. So the first one is from Miss Mozzie, Leo season. My mom is a Leo, and she traumatized me with her attention to detail, the paranoia of how people perceive us, and physical appearances. When I say that lady is vain, it would be an understatement. She loves compliments and definitely does anything to attract attention, from wearing an expensive perfume to an eye-catching lip shade. She will give her last drop of water away to someone who's thirsty, even if it means dying of thirst herself. She's not that expressive or affectionate towards her daughters, but the love she has for us is unconditional. If you question her love, she will get so emotional to the point of tears or giving you the silent treatment.
Wow.
Yeah. She loves a good trend, very trendy, is hardworking, and self-motivated. Her negatives are that she is very trusting to a fault and gullible. She is too emotional at times, but rarely gets mad. When she does, it's very scary. Ooh. Where we clash is the communication, because it's like a one-sided conversation every time with her, or maybe she's just not a good listener. I don't know. So yeah, definitely we see a mixed bag with this Leo example.
Yeah. Do you think she fits the archetype?
I feel like with definitely wanting to be bold and out there, absolutely, yes.
I love the analogy, and I think there's another story that comes in, but something that I didn't think about there, I said tink, I got Canadian there for a second. It's all the Olympics that we've been watching recently, so, but anyways, I've noticed this, like, pattern emerging of, like, the Leo roar.
Yes.
And I didn't really think about it, but in this story, I guess when Mozzie mentions that, you know, her mom, like, when she's upset, and then I think somebody else pointed out, which we'll hear here shortly, that, like, the Leos have, like, that Leo roar. So yeah. Do I have more of a, like, of a purr, I think.
I think with us, it's more like, why are you yelling?
Yeah.
I feel like we ask each other that all the time. Why are you yelling right now? Yeah.
But yeah, we have a few, so let's move on.
And then @TabeanG_L, aka Angel, on Instagram, loved hearing about how your life is with your 3 Leo household and the differences in how you each prefer to receive gifts. I'm definitely in line with Genesis. I prefer experiences. Spend the whole day with me doing fun stuff or just hanging out and chilling. That will be my birthday gift. More than enough. Unless it's books or notebooks, I am always down to receive those as gifts.
Yeah, I listened to the episode back while I was driving, and I was cracking up in the part where you're like, if somebody gave me an Hermes bag, I'd like it. And then I was like, shit, I'll take an Hermes bag. That was probably like one of my favorite clips of our episodes.
I was also listening to it on my drive. I had to go like an hour away to get my car fixed, and I was also cracking up. Yeah.
Yeah, and then as far as gifts, notebooks, and books, yeah. I mean, we kind of talked about communication. I feel like that seems to be another stereotype or archetype of Leos. Like, there's different communication styles, I think, within Leos, but it seems to be like a very important thing with that. So, cool. And then one more.
Yes, happy Janet _2020. I love the Leo episode. I mean, why wouldn't you love it? It's about Leos. LOL. I've had some Leos in my life, and I know firsthand they definitely like to be praised and complimented. But even though they like their ego stroked, what people fail to notice, in my opinion, is that they are very generous. They will look out for you. They care for you, and they are very protective. Leos are very confident and proud, but while they have all these amazing traits, do not cross a Leo. When they roar, it is loud. They will kick ass and shake your hand afterwards. Anyway, that's enough about Leos. JK, we will never get tired about hearing about Leos. Also, I'm a Scorpio. Yes, we know you're a Scorpio. I love Scorpios, even though normally Leos and Scorpios aren't supposed to get along. I love me some Scorpio energy.
I know, it's funny because we mentioned last time that Leos and Scorpio don't mix, but we love Janet. I love my mom. Correction, I said her birthday was in October, and she called me out. It's November 1st, and I know it's November 1st, so I think I just had like a brain fog moment last week, but I didn't want to make that correction, so...
She's like, get it right.
Get it right. So that's Leo's super lively discussion. I'm telling you, I think those are our hitters, the astrology ones. Yeah. Everybody always participates.
Absolutely.
What's our next season?
Next season is going to be Virgo, which I just met a Virgo this morning, Carissa Crochets. So thank you so much. That was so much fun. And I feel like for Virgos, doing like a crochet project, all that attention to detail is very, very crucial. The only tattoo I have, I did ask my tattoo artist, what is your sign?
Oh my God.
He said he's a Virgo, and I was like, oh, I'm safe. The line work is going to be crisp.
And not what are your health regulations? Nope. What are you using to sanitize things?
Just vibes only.
Just vibes
only. Vibes and signs.
Oh my gosh. If you're getting a tattoo, please go to a reputable source.
We got a tattoo from the same place. It was fine.
Yeah, mine got infected though, so... All right, so we're going to talk about serendipity today. It's a concept I love. I think it's there's a lot of beauty in it. And then as we were researching, we kind of found it's more of a scientific term, which I thought was really interesting. Yeah. Because here I was going more for the abstract, the more like just the universe lining things up for you. But it turns out it really has its origins in like science, right?
Yeah, it's an unplanned, my bad. Unplanned fortunate discovery. Sorry, I was getting my words twisted. Unplanned fortunate discovery. So there are a few inventions in history that were serendipitous, such as the sticky note. So the sticky note originally,
Like the Post-it?
yeah, like the Post-it, yes. So sticky notes, Post-it, whatever you want to call it. The Maker 3M made an adhesive that was too weak. So then they scrapped the project, but one of the people that worked on the project used them to keep track in his book. And
Like
he was
a
like,
bookmark, right?
like a bookmark, but more for like annotation. He was using them like in different places. He was like, oh, these are really handy. And then Velcro is another one. So the guy that invented Velcro was hiking, and then he got those little like spiky balls.
Oh, yeah. The little, I know what they are.
Yeah, and he was like, these things are so annoying. Why are they so sticky? And he looked at it up close and he saw a bunch of like little loops, and that's how he got inspired for Velcro.
The, those spiky balls kind of, sorry, this is a way back throwback. In our Apothecary episode, we didn't talk about it, but before we started filming that, recording that, we went to a couple stores. And I don't know if I told you this, but I noticed at an Apothecary setup, they had a jar full of those like spiky balls, and I was like,
They were downstairs.
they were, yeah,
Yeah.
they were selling for like $1 each, and I was like, I used to get those things and throw them at my friends all the time for free. But I'm kind of curious what the holistic use for those are, because obviously, like, they were coveted.
Yeah, I have no idea. Because they're annoying, I'm gonna assume they were used to hex, but who knows?
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, maybe they're in a sour jar. You put it because it's like spiky and
Yeah.
But yeah,
Maybe.
that was
Maybe.
I had that kind of correlation, so that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah. Next is popsicles. So one of the guys that first invented like the first commercial popsicle, he accidentally left water and baking soda out in like freezing temperatures. It was the winter, and then he got inspired to make popsicles, the first commercial popsicles.
Baking soda.
Yeah.
Did it add anything to the?
I think it made it so that it's not just like a straight up block of ice, but it was like a little bit softer than that, but still held up.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
yeah.
Got it.
And then finally, one of the most famous ones, penicillin.
And important ones.
Yes,
too.
and important. This serendipitous invention has literally saved millions of lives. But Alexander Fleming, the scientist, returned from vacation to find an uncovered petri dish that he accidentally left, and it was contaminated with a mold. But he noticed within the petri dish that there was a spot where bacteria didn't grow, which is weird. It's supposed to grow everywhere. So then he isolated the penicillin because it's from a mold called Penicillium notatum. And then he tested it and he realized, oh wow, this is an antibacterial and antibiotic. And once he presented it and commercialized it and all that, to this day it has saved millions of lives.
So it's serendipity is like the Bob Ross of things, right? It's like the happy accidents.
Yes, absolutely. Happy accidents, but that have a little more like tangible
Outcomes.
outcomes, blessings, whatever you want to call it, versus like, oh, this is nice. Like when you get exactly like, let's say a cup of milk when you wanted a cup of milk and then you would have like run out. That's not necessarily serendipitous. It has to be a little more tangible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. And then the etymology of the word itself is kind of interesting too, right?
Yeah, so it was first used by an author, and then it was inspired by, I guess, one of the variations of the name of Sri Lanka, which is Serendip, because he was inspired by a fable about like an artwork that went missing but then was found that originated from Sri Lanka.
Yeah,
So
I think while they were trying to find the missing piece of artwork, like, so the legend of the story goes that there was a piece of artwork missing, and kind of that was the tale, like, let's go find this piece of artwork. And along the way, like, a lot of good things kept happening.
that kind of reminds me of the book The Alchemist. If you've ever read it, it's a really good book.
I've
But-
never checked that out. I'm not a big reader, but I should start reading a little bit more.
Let's start a book club. But yeah, so that is what serendipity is. So I think it's a beautiful concept, but it's a little bit vague. I feel like talking about the big inventions or like famous examples really helps tie together. Like, this is a little more than like finding a penny on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is a really cool episode. A, because it's kind of lighthearted, more wholesome. I was really looking forward to this. I love that concept of serendipity. But this one does not have too much of its traits or base within metaphysical or spiritual, which I thought it did. I thought before, just because the name sounds so eclectic, I thought it has something to do with like, I thought sirens first.
Sirens?
Yeah, sirens.
That's what I said, Cyrus.
Oh, I think you said
like
Cyrus.
Like the mermaids?
Like the mermaids, yes.
Oh, those will kill you. So.
But, so that's why I was like, hey, let's do this episode.
Yeah.
I've suggested this one for months. It was one I've been wanting for a while. And maybe subconsciously I knew that it was more science-based, and I was like, that would be good. But anyways, what I'm trying to get at is, while it is more based in science, or it has no spirituality associated with it, how do you link both concepts of like serendipity to what maybe we've talked about, like manifestation or spell work? Because I don't believe in that, but I do think when we are kind of presented with moments of having an opportunity, like, we should be ready for it. So you can have opportunity but not be ready. And I think that's where sometimes there's a lot of misses in people's lives, where something will come your way and you're either scared or not prepared, or maybe you are prepared, but you just don't know what your next step is. So that, again, like we talked about last time, that interception of like preparedness and opportunity is, some people say that, well, that's what luck is.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of curious, how would you link the concept of serendipity into a spiritual or metaphysical sense?
Yeah, I feel like that happens with astrology a lot. So you'll know the current, the like cosmic forecast, if you will. And for example, right now, Jupiter's always somewhere, right? But right now,
I would hope so.
it went missing.
Jupiter just fell out of orbit.
That would be really bad. But so Jupiter is transiting Gemini right now. So even though you don't know exactly what's going to happen, you know, like, this part of my life will be blessed. Let me keep an eye on it. And then, yeah, these serendipitous occasions will appear, and then you're ready for it. So, yeah, just keeping an eye out, I think, with serendipity and astrology, for example, is really good. I feel like when you're specifically manifesting something, that's not necessarily serendipitous, because you're really trying and putting in work to make something happen. Even the intangible work, like the spirit work, the shadow work, the, you know, different little rituals, because you're making it happen, versus just keeping an eye on like the transits on like, okay, maybe this will happen, and then it does without any preparedness, really. So that's how I link it with astrology.
And we had talked about the butterfly effect, and the butterfly effect, I think it's more cause and effect.
It is. It's a dramatic cause and effect.
And so I, at the beginning, kind of equated it to that. So, I mean, I guess it could both be combined, where maybe you do something that you're not even aware of, and then down the line, it comes back to you, or you are, fortunate. I don't say blessed, because, again, that's not my vibe, but I think, just being fortunate in the sense that maybe there was like a cosmic thing in the universe. And I mean, just going back to the penicillin example, which again, revolutionary in the healthcare field, everything had to line up perfectly, right?
Yeah,
so like, who knows? You know, if we go back to that butterfly effect episode, maybe that mold was perfect for that time. You know, had it been during a different time, maybe like I mean, I don't know when penicillin was invented.
Early 1900s.
I know, but I'm like during the year. I'm just speculating, but like, what if, you know, it was during the winter where things are more like moist or swampy, as opposed to the summer, where the summer could have killed everything off because of the heat. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think the way the butterfly effect does kind of fit in is with the idea that there are things that we're not aware of that can have cause and effect, and it seems like a happy accident, like we've talked about, but maybe it started way before that.
So I have an example of astrological meets serendipity, which happened to us recently when we went to San Francisco. We were there for Megan Thee Stallion. Thank you again, baby, for the beautiful concert and letting me see my lady. Anyway, so
Go ahead, finish.
no, I'm about to go into a long story, so you go.
I was just gonna say this story, like at the end of it, we can all just tie it back and say like, "Thank you, Megan."
Yes, thank you, Megan, for coming to San Francisco, making this happen. But we were going to be there on the weekend of the full moon in Capricorn at 1 degree.
You always have to throw your astrological.
If it makes sense, and if the shoe fits or the moon fits or whatever, it's there. Anyway, that was going to be conjunct, aka touching the root of my chart, also known as the IC. So basically it was really special and impactful, and I didn't have anything planned other than just going to see Megan Thee Stallion, but I was like, I'll just keep my eye out for an opportunity because this is like a really powerful transit for me.
Did you really have that in mind?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were looking for what was going to happen.
I'm always calculating.
Oh my God.
Always calculating the transits. Anyway, but yes, so I was like, something is gonna happen this weekend. I just don't know what, because I'm not actively manifesting anything in particular. So we'll just see. And we were walking around Chinatown because we
were going to Chinatown. We had a specific mission. So let's paint the whole picture. Okay. So San Francisco was the concert, and then I've been needing to go to Chinatown to buy nunchucks, in case anybody's wondering. But I said, hey, so this is the plan. We're going to go to Chinatown. I used to live in San Francisco, so I kind of know the layout. Mm-hmm. So I was like, we're going to park here, and then we're going to walk to Chinatown because parking is rough in Chinatown.
Yeah.
So it's like all planned out and methodical. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the Leo in me, I guess.
Yeah.
And so that was already part of the plan to go to Chinatown, but it's important to note that we were going to walk into Chinatown, not that we went directly. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we were walking down Stockton Street to go through the Chinatown Tunnel, and David is a SFSU, San Francisco State University graduate, and he was like, I want to show you this place that was really special to me. It's an arcade that used to frequent, hang out at.
Yeah, so when I was there, I made a friend who was really good at like fighting games, like arcade fighting games, and there was this like, it wasn't like underground. It was almost underground because it's like right by a tunnel, but it was a very like bodega style, very
homey,
kind of like, it had very cool like underground subway vibes. He took me there, and that's a place where he would go all the time, and I would watch him play fighting games, and he was really good. So I spent a lot of my like free time at that arcade, and I suck at arcade games. I don't want anybody to think that I'm good. I was a groupie basically. I was there just supporting my friend, getting his quarters, and it was really cool. So with us going through there, and this I had not planned, I was just like, I told Genesis, I was like, hey, I want to show you something. There's a little spot right here that actually has a lot of significance to me. I've never told you about it just because maybe it wasn't that significant, I guess, but time and place, right? Yeah. Going back to what serendipity is. I was like, hey, since we're here, do you mind if we kind of stop in? And we were with a big group, including Miss Mozzie. Shout out Miss Mozzie. And I said, hey, like, I want to show you this spot. So as we were walking, we kind of passed by it. And I looked around and I was like, and it had been years. So I was like, maybe it was on the different part of I knew it was on that street, but I couldn't really recognize the building. So then what happened?
So we walked by, and he was like, I hope they didn't close, because this was like, 10 years ago?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it was like 10 years ago.
Exactly 10 years ago.
Yeah, so he's like, oh, I hope they didn't close. And then he's always like, oh, no, they closed. He's like, ooh, but it's a wish store. I think this is a sign. And for him to say that is like, ooh, okay, I gotta listen. Because, I
just thought it was I felt very full circle. It's like, when I was in college at 22 years old, I never imagined 10 years later walking by that spot and being with my wife and just everything. I don't know. It just kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. It was very full circle, and it was very like that's. I actually had that thought. I was like, wow, this is very serendipitous.
Yeah.
And I guess. Okay, up to that point, just thinking it's serendipitous, now that I know what the meaning is, I don't think it completely lined up, but it was just a beautiful moment. It's like, yes, this place that means a lot or meant a lot to me closed, but look what it is now. It's like a manifestation of everything that you are, which is, it's like a metaphysical shop. And so, it was closed when we walked by.
Yes,
so then what happened afterwards?
So we did our thing, ate way too much around Chinatown.
Way too much in Chinatown.
Found the nunchucks.
Yeah, we found our nunchucks. We ate a lot of Chinese food.
And then we were walking back all stuffed and tired. And we get there and it's open. And it's named Infinity Coven. And I don't know, like... Now that I'm a practitioner and I have the plug for everything, like if I want crystals, I have a plug. If I want specific herbs, I have a plug. So like shops, I'm like, it's not really my thing anymore. But he was insisting. He was like, no, let's go in, let's go in. So we did. And I was just chilling and I was like, oh, this is cute. I like the vibe in here.
And it is a really cool vibe.
Yeah. And then David being very more outgoing and friendly than me because of that Sagittarius rising that he has. He was talking to the owner, Zia, and was like, hey, what's up? This used to be an arcade. This place is really special. And then she was like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah, we just opened June 1st, beginning of June.
And I think she said, she's like, oh, it hasn't been an arcade in a long time, because I think she said before that it was like a salon.
I don't remember.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And then before that it was an arcade.
Yeah. But we were looking around. She had some really cool stuff. And then David noticed like a neon sign that said like tarot reader or reading room. I don't remember what it said. But something like that. And David asked, oh, do you have a tarot reader here? And Zia said, no, but I would like to have a shop witch. But I can't find anybody. I just opened. And he was like, she does readings. She does readings. And I was like, oh my God. And then Zia was like, yeah, are you down? Like, let's talk. And I was like, I live in Merced, so I can only come once a month if you're down for that. Like, if not, I understand.
And I thought that part was funny because I kind of just introduced and then I walked out because there was a sandwich shop next door and we wanted to check that out. So I was like, you can stay in here and talk and let me go check out the sandwich shop.
So Zia and I exchanged information, and then we talked, and I was like, I'll give you a free reading so you can see my vibe. I can only come maybe like once a month because that's a freaking mission for me. And Zia was like, nope, you passed the vibe check, like let's do this. And I was like, oh my God, this is really happening. And then we had our first try in July, and that was so much fun. So I'm coming back for August, and I'm gonna keep coming once a month. So yeah, that was really cute, exciting, and I just did not expect to land an opportunity, make a beautiful friendship and partnership with Zia, and find the Infinity Coven. So now I love that I'm a part of such a special place. 447 Stockton Street. Check it out. Very cute. A lot of cute offerings, and I'll be there once a month now.
And while it's not penicillin, it is still very special.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's not the perfect example of like serendipity in our lives, then I really don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And I think when that happened to us, we were like, that's what we're going to say for the serendipity episode. So we were more excited to record this episode because we knew we were going to be able to share that story with all our listeners. So really, really cool.
And Zia is such a cool person. She's so empathetic, so kind, super knowledgeable, specifically in something called Strega, which is Italian witch magic, which is really cool because she's of Italian origin. And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, this is too good to be true. And I did like so many tarot readings where I was like, what's the catch? There's no way like such a wonderful human just like fell on my lap and passes the vibe check. Like, what's going on? And the cards were like, girl, you're tripping. This is a blessing, take it. So absolutely just beautiful, unexpected discovery.
And I think she also told you her partner's also a skeptic?
Yes, and that's part of the reason why we created this podcast in the first place, because that's such a common dynamic to have one person that's a little more spiritual and one person that's a little more skeptical. So yeah, I love meeting other couples that have a similar dynamic.
Yeah, no, and it was great. And yeah, like, just full circle for San Francisco, like I said. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine when I was, walking those streets that's where I would be. And it was just very touching for me. And I don't get too emotional, I feel, but
yeah,
I think you could tell that I was like, whoa, this is really hitting close to home. So
yeah.
I think for sure that's our most impactful serendipitous example. But do you have any more? Do you have any time? Maybe I don't think we're gonna have anything that like matches this, but do you have any times in your life where you've experienced like serendipity?
Well, I feel like I just talked a whole lot. What about you? Do you have any?
I don't want to say I feel like my whole life is serendipitous, but I feel like everything I've wanted to do, I've set my mind to, I've like prepared for, it's happened. So I'm a big proponent of like what I just said earlier. When you're prepared, you have the opportunities to receive what the universe is sending to you. So I don't know specifically if I would say like a serendipitous situation. The only one I can kind of think of that I've touched on before, I don't remember what episode it was, but if you ask my mom, she swears we like stopped an airplane. But again, this one's not more serendipitous because if anything, I would say like more manifestation. But there was a time where I almost missed out on a trip to New York because I woke up late, and like I mentioned during the episode, I hate being late. That's like my biggest like pet peeve. So the fact that I was late to something, like the universe was telling me something. So
yeah.
Just to kind of recap that story, we were able to catch the flight. But see, that's not really serendipitous. That's more like, again, I think manifestation. I don't know if I've ever seen an example of like, this is a happy accident.
Other than what we lived through.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah. And I routed my brain because I was like, okay, I have to come up with some examples.
Yeah.
For this episode, but I couldn't really think of any like solid ones. What about you?
I would say that's one, and then I feel like another one would probably be just, I don't know. A lot of the ones that I can think of are more like butterfly effect. This was just like the biggest one on the forefront of my mind, so it's the only one I can think of right now. But honestly, that's okay because I have a few questions from Mozzie, so we can go ahead and answer those. So Mozzie asks, if it'll pull up, would serendipity be related to premonitions? I mean, the act of premonitions is considered something that happens by chance either way. So would it be serendipitous if something accurately occurred due to a premonition? That is a really good question.
That is a great question. And, I think premonitions are probably an episode that we could do a whole episode on premonitions. Well, I think there's two sides to it. I'll kind of explain my reasoning and then you can kind of go for yours.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, again, I don't really believe in premonitions, but I do believe we do, and there's people who are attuned to have like a subconscious understanding of their surroundings. So whether that's with another person, like body language, or understanding surroundings where maybe they're not consciously thinking about something, but then they'll say, hey, I think like this is going to happen, and then it happens. I think those could just be like subconscious cues. The moment I think of is there was a news reporter who was on air or whatever, and then they got a call from a listener who said, hey, I'm not trying to scare you or anything. I'm a medical professional, but I noticed like there was something on your neck. And the listener said, obviously take this however you want it, but I would recommend you get that checked out. And they did, and it turned out that it was like a cancerous lump, and they caught it just in time before it grew.
Wow.
So again, And that's not a premonition, that's an observation.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I mean. It's along those lines of like, I think people who say they have premonitions, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that they're like, oh, I think this is going to happen, and then it does happen. But I think it's more like you're a good observer. Your subconscious cues are telling you, like, hey, this is what's going to happen. Kind of like subliminal messaging, but that has been disproven scientifically, so I can't really say it's subliminal messaging. But I do think certain people can be very in tune or acute to what's going on around them. Perceptive, yeah. So I wouldn't say that's serendipitous. I think serendipitous is more like you weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
And something good happened. Whereas premonition, you are expecting it.
Yes.
Because you're in advance saying like, I feel or I think this is going to happen. But that's... So what's your like spiritual or metaphysical take on that?
I agree. If you know it's going to happen and it's a premonition, it's not unexpected. You know, the premonition was unexpected, but that's usually how premonitions are. But you know what? As long as you receive some blessings, if this is a good premonition and not a bad premonition, you know, that's great. That's great for you if you ever have good premonitions. But yeah, I don't know if it would necessarily be serendipity. Serendipity more catches you by surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's probably more to that story, so I hope she follows up. I feel like she was asking that because there's probably a moment she's had a premonition, and now I'm like super curious to know what that is.
Well, Mozzie is very spiritual and in tune, so I wouldn't be surprised. But she says, I feel like I'm high right now asking this question because I guess it just relates to serendipity with Alice in Wonderland. Also, does serendipity only mean something good happening? Yes, because it is unexpected, fortunate events.
Yeah, serendipity has a positive connotation.
Yes,
always.
absolutely.
There is the antonym to it, and I don't know if you looked it up, but there's another term that I'd never heard until we researched this episode. But it's like something unfortunate happening to you. But then, like, that's just called life, I think. Like, just bad things happening. But yeah.
Yeah, so that was a great question. Thank you so much, Mozzie. We appreciate it. And yeah, now that we have the Google link where y'all can leave voice memos and we can hear all your beautiful voices now. If you have a serendipitous story to share with us or any comments, maybe you don't believe in serendipity, you believe it's something else, we would love to hear that starting next episode. So please, I really hope we get some voice memos in.
Yeah.
I would love to hear y'all's voices, not just ours anymore.
I mean, I like our voice, so I'm not too worried. You know,
Leo.
You know how people say, like, I hate hearing my voice on a microphone or on a playback?
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. Does it bother you?
No, not my voice, but like watching myself on video, I'm like, oh, jump scared. No, I'm kidding. Not that bad, but it's just like, I don't know, slightly cringy, but it's like, you know, you gotta do it.
Yeah. No, I think our voice is okay. We don't have like angelic voices, but they don't annoy me.
Yes, and we will be coming out with our topics for next month. They'll be uploaded to Instagram shortly.
Oh, yeah, we're wrapping up July, huh?
Isn't that wild? Time just flew by.
What a great way to finish the month on this episode. I know we post once a month, and you post it throughout the week, but just as a reminder, there's just one general post for all the questions. So make sure to check that out on Instagram if you have any questions, and we can address them there.
Yes, and now you can start leaving those beautiful voice memos. So yes, please. So just a reminder, my handle is @JenCallo on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, or you could visit us, jencallo.com. Within my bio, you find the link tree, and there you could become a part of the Kythera Club, which is our Patreon subscription. You could leave your voice memos, or you could book a consultation with me. Again, I'm available in person Saturdays in Merced and one Saturday a month in San Francisco, but online Tuesday through Thursday.
Yeah, the Patreon is super cool. We really, really want to stimulate that community. Again, we also do giveaways there, or we're going to start doing giveaways. So if you've ever been interested in like getting like a reading or giving a reading, that's a good place to go. And there's not a lot of people right now, so the chances of winning are like super high.
Yeah, right now I feel like I'm just yapping because there's only two of us, plus me and David. So it's just 4 of us on the Discord right now, and I'm like, I feel like I'm annoying, but this is the purpose of the Discord. I like take a picture. I'm like, look at my plant. Look at this. Look at Lucy. So it's a lot of fun right now.
Yeah, come join us.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Remember, the magic within you makes the world a more beautiful place. Blessed be.